Welcome back to Attingham Park, and we are up by field 1 because I had a brilliant idea in the last episode to evict Cartech from his farm so that we could move the beef cattle in. But I did a bit of a poll on YouTube, and turns out you lot like him, so we're not evicting him. We are going to build a whole new yard. And I had a bit of a scout around the map, and field 1 looks like a kind of good location. The field's fairly flat. It's a nice size. And yeah, so we're going to get to work. First job is going to be to do a whole bunch of landscaping. Basically want to try and level off a big chunk of the field to build into the yard, and then whatever ends up being left, we're going to plant as grass for feeding the cows. So yeah, this is a project that is taking me it's going to take a couple of videos to get done. The combination of building the yard, getting all the crops sorted is going to take a little while. So I missed recording me putting in the cow pen, but it is this one from the cow farm pack on ModHub. It holds 200 cows, which is more than enough, and cost me 100 grand. I really like it. It looks kind of weathered and old, which is kind of weird, I guess, because I'm building a new yard, but it feels quite nice in the map. I've driven around the map quite a bit since I put it in, and it feels like it should be there. I believe this is the manure point, which is kind of cool, and it's got a really cool slurry pit. Yep, so looking forward to seeing how that works. I'm not sure. I suspect we may have to come in there to put straw in. I'm not sure. We may be able to blow it in from the front. We'll see, I guess. Yeah. So this was a kind of a fun project. I am by far not the best at building yards, by a long way, and you'll see that as we go through this. One of the really cool things about using Attingham is GB has included most of the sheds that he uses to build the map as placeables. So we've got loads of options for different shapes and styles of shed and things to put in. I've kind of sectioned off part of the field, as you can see, which is what I planned to plant for grass. It maybe wasn't quite big enough to build a full-on UK style yard with, you know, the way that they tend to meander a little bit, but I think I sort of did okay. So we're going to need a whole load of storage. We're going to have to bring bales up here. We're going to be buying new kit to keep up here because it's quite a trek from the main yard up to here. So I'm going to set this up to be kind of self-sufficient as a satellite farm, so that it can it's got all the kit that it needs to do jobs up here. I don't get all of it brought in this episode, but get most of it done. I think off in the distance there I could see all of the marker points for auto drive. That was kind of weird. Hadn't spotted that when I was recording. So yeah, we're putting a couple of sheds in. So we're going to have some vehicles and stuff up here, so we need storage for those. Lots of bale storage. And in the next video, because I've actually recorded that already because of how long it took me to get the commentary recorded to this, with the whole being ill over Christmas, I've customized the feed mixes that we're going to use. So I've got a mix for the young cows and the beef, and a mix for the dairy, based on some stuff that Quacker sent me, who is he works on a farm in the UK and is on my Discord and watches videos and stuff. Not in this video, but in a future video, thanks to him, we're also going to be giving away a copy of, I think it's Warhammer 40,000. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, that's not the 5,000 subscriber giveaway, but yeah, that's coming soon in a video. I'm not sure which one yet. Anyway, back to this. I'm gonna stick in a fuel tank again. This is part of the map. I think it's the fuel tank that we actually have over on our yard, so that's kind of cool. It's really nice of a modder to include stuff like this as placeables, because it really helps with, you know, trying to build a yard that sort of fits in with the rest of the map. You know, we've got all the same buildings. Some of the textures are missing, I think. I'm not sure. I kind of like this sort of scratched concrete texture anyway, so not a big deal. We've got, you know, a shed at the end which we can use for bales and maybe vehicles. We've got the shed next to it, which is definitely going to be used for vehicle storage. But I think we need some more, and I want to try and break up the straight line of sheds. So we're going to stick this one over here. You know, I think this will be good for storing tractors and things like that. We're not going to have a silly amount of equipment up here. Probably a couple of tractors, something to do loading and bale work with, feed mixer, straw blower, trailer, because we're going to need to be shipping all the manure back down to the main yard to the BGA, and probably be doing a fair bit of auto drive for that, I think. If I think that's probably about all we need. You know, not too much needed really. And let's stick that there to put the bales in. It's quite a nice open shed. I think we have this shed on our yard. I think it's where I have all the straw bales. Let's see. It's maybe not the best layout. It's kind of a bit weird, but I'm getting used to it. So I've done this video and the next one, and they pretty much both are focused around sorting this yard out because it just took so long. And I'm still trying to keep the videos to a sane length. So yeah, it's taken me a while. It's all your fault for making me build a yard and not just steal Cartech's farm. So, you know, tough. So just having a browse through for things like lights, and I want to put a silo up here. We're going to put some molasses storage up here as well. But I thought, I was watching Cartech rearrange his Calmston yards, and saw the lights that he had and thought actually it might be useful to have some lights. Some of those are a bit extreme. And I tend not to do too much in the dark anyway because it's pretty awful to record. But I might start putting a few lights around the yard. I did it a fair bit in FS19 actually because it did make things easier, because I tended to play in FS19 with sort of time restrictions, which I haven't done as much of in FS22. You know, I used to do a lot of, we're playing on ×5, and if we run out of time it'll be dark kind of stuff. I've not done that so much in FS22, and I don't know how you guys feel about that kind of thing. Not sure. Looks like the next job might be the silo. So this is off of Mod Hub and is a small grain silo. Looking through the feed mixtures, I had thought about putting grain mix in, but it appears that soybeans are an option in kind of a mix for younger cows. So we're going to go for that actually. But basically at this point, I just wanted a silo up here that I could dump grain products in, because I thought it would be useful. We're also going to put in a couple of molasses tanks because they only hold 5,000 litres, so I thought I'd do two. But here I'm just switching on the fill point and unload point because I think they look quite cool, so I wanted to leave them out. We don't need them hidden away, and yeah. Was kind of that bit. I had already placed the molasses tanks once, but I forgot to save the game. Yeah, just filling up the diesel tank because it'd be useful to have some diesel up here. And we're spending a fair bit of cash, which is it's not a problem. We've got plenty, and if we need to, I can just add more. That's the joy of this save. I'm not too worried about the finances. If we run out of cash, I'll just add some more. I don't think we will because we've got BGAs and milk and things, and the part of the reason for moving the cows is the enhanced animal system has brought in animals dying if they're at 0% health, and my previous strategy with the beef was to essentially leave them in the field. They graze a fair bit of the time, but not all of the time, and so we're going to have to start feeding them, and to make money from them feeding them we need to collect the manure, and them being in a field you don't get manure or slurry, so we're moving them into the shed. maybe a slightly less nice life for the cows. You know, they've gone from out grazing in the field all the time to so we're just buying some mineral feed for these silos that I put in here. Gone from out grazing in the fields to living in a big concrete shed. But it means we can put the manure and the slurry through the BGA that we have. So we have the mini BGA down at the main yard. It may or may not be worth actually just building a new one up here at some point. So just having a quick look at what we've done. I'm kind of pleased with it. Don't know what you guys think. Hopefully, yeah, it's your fault that I'm doing this. So tough, pretty much. It's weird. Yard building videos always seem to do really well. We're just bringing the seeder over so that we can plant grass in the rest of that field. These are the cows that are going to be moving. One of the nice things for me doing this job is we have been playing on Attingham for pretty much a year, and everything I've done has been around the yard. So I've not really explored the map at all. This is the first time that I've played on Attingham. I didn't play it in FS19, so it has been really quite cool seeing more of the map. Myself, I've obviously been watching Cartech play, watched Mr. CDP play more in FS19 than FS22. I don't know if he's done a playthrough on FS22 actually. Watched a bit of VF's Attingham series, and yeah, but it's really cool to be out and actually exploring the map a little bit. Yeah, which is something that I've not done on here. So we're going to buy the soil map for the field just because I'm being a bit lazy. It's really good soil, so we should get quite a bit of grass off of here. Part of the plan is to do like I'm doing on Maypole and do some zero grazing for the cows. So during the summer months when the grass is growing, I'll be I'm going to get the ribbery again. I used it in at one point earlier on in this save, and I'm going to get that, which I don't know if you heard that. That was my work laptop beeping at me. Which is a forage wagon with a mower built in, so that'll be really nice for just doing, you know, the zero grazing or indirect grazing on here. Yeah, it's part of the plan. That will obviously help reduce the cost. And you know, yeah, it kind of threw me having to worry about making sure those cows are fed. Now during the summer, grazing does cover them, but we would have to, my work laptop is beeping away quite merrily at me. Let's just switch that off. During the winter, we would have to be giving them TMR, and you know, if we're not selling the manure and slurry, or well, no, it's really the, you know, if we're not selling some decent percentage of the manure through a BGA, then we're not going to make money out of that beef cow. So yeah, just a change that I'm making so that we can make the farm profitable. And again, yeah, this series is a lot about exploring elements of maizePlus, and one of the things with maizePlus, and I can't remember for base game. I think base game you could make money off of beef, but with maizePlus you really struggle because of how much they eat. But you do get a lot more manure, so the way to make them profitable is to feed that manure into a BGA, and you know, it's going to give us digestate, which we can then use to do the fertilization. So I'm probably not going to put it through the pumps and hoses BGA because that needs silage to run with it. It's a bit of a weird BGA, and it's set up so that it runs on silage and then you add bits to improve it. I'm sure you guys have probably played with it a bit. I did earlier on here. So I'm just going to put it through the mini BGA, which will just let us process the manure and the slurry separately. I've got some auto drive set up, so I've got an auto drive route that will get me from between the two farms. So with a bit of work, once things are set up properly, hopefully I can get auto drive doing the journey from, at the very least, the fill triggers here back to the main farm, if not to the BGA unload point. That's kind of the goal. It might be kind of tricky with where that BGA is placed, and if that becomes a pain long term, we'll probably build a BGA up here. It's not going to take up that much space on this field. You know, we've got The area we're seeding now and in front of us is pretty flat, so I think we could probably look at maybe sticking a BGA on there. I'm still slightly torn, so I've been playing on this yard for a bit and I kind of like it, but I'm slightly torn as to whether we extend it over a bit more in this area. That would give us room to put that BGA in, and also a bit more shed space. This kind of long entranceway feels a little bit wasted to me. So yeah, thinking about it in hindsight, I'm kind of wondering whether we just get BGA up here. It'll save me a lot of time driving the manure back. We should quite quickly recover the cost of it, because I think it's quite economically priced. The designers and builders of that are pretty efficient, so we should be okay. Yeah, I think that's what I might do. So the next video is already recorded, and that's really focused around getting feed sorted up here for the beef cow. It all took a lot longer than I expected, to be honest. That's not a complaint. I enjoyed doing it. It just means that, you know, this video is 40 minutes long and we're time lapsing stuff at this point, so that gives you an idea of, you know, typically I'm trying to keep the videos to 30 minutes. The next two are both about 40 minutes long, depending on if I time lapse the next one in some elements. I haven't edited it yet, I just played it yesterday because it was kind of good fun. I learned some things about some of the kit we're going to be buying in a bit. I don't know, actually, I don't know whether it's the kit or whether it's the farm supply pack. But yeah, we'll see. Right, so once we've got this done, we do need to lime this field as well. Can't remember what the nitrogen was like. I think it was probably okay for grass. Obviously, if we put a BGA up here, we'll lose a bit of the grass space, but we'll have our own digestate supply for keeping this grass fertilized. Depending on how it goes with feeding from this area, we could always buy one of the other fields up here as well. Kind of tempted by that giant field in front of us, but I don't think we need that, and we end up not massively flush in cash. I think most of the fields up this way are bigger, and I did look at the I can't remember the name of it, the yard that VF is using that's got pigs and horses, and deleting the existing animal pens on there and putting in cow pens, but it kind of didn't work. And I really wanted to use that shed. I've had it downloaded for a while and not got around to using it yet, because I think it looks really cool. I've not actually tested it. I hope it works. If not, I might be doing a bit of XML playing to get it to work, because yeah, I really like the look of it. It was a decent price for the size. It might mean that we expand the number of beef that we have. We're sitting at about 60 at the moment, and up that there are a couple of Holsteins in that field as well. We'll put those back in with the main herd, and yeah, that herd's actually growing quite quickly. We've had quite a lot of calves in there, so you can see I'm now just getting auto drive set up, and bringing these are the straw bales that we did in the previous video. So from the 2 grain fields that we harvested, traffic was annoying me, so I ended up switching it off for now. Yeah, I thought I'd bring these straight up to the new farm, so that we could yeah, you know, we've got plenty of straw back on the main yard, so it seemed sensible to bring all of this over here, and that'll hopefully last us the year. We're only doing the 1 more year on here at the moment, and that's something I've spoken about a few times. Running 3 Let's Plays is too much for me. With the other bits that I do, you know, there's the tutorials that I like to do. We're calling it Beefton, that was it, that's what I called it. Tutorials I like to do. Multiplayer should be back this week. Yeah, it means I'm only getting like 1 and a bit videos on each series done a week, and I don't think that's enough. So yeah, I am enjoying playing Attingham, but I think it's one of the ones that will be cut down in the future. So let's start buying some kit. In FS19, I really enjoyed the not the Kubota, although I did have a quick look at it. The Crammer. I used it loads, and I'd forgotten how good it was. Again, in hindsight, we could have gone for the methane or electric powered version if I'm thinking about putting a BGA up here, but no, I went for the standard one, which is fine. Yeah, this is a really cool bit of kit for, I mean, it's 60 grand, but again, not worried about money on here. And it was just something different to try that I'd kind of forgotten how nice it was. It uses front loader tools, which again is quite nice because we can use the Albert Bale King bale spike. This is a great bale grab for long stacking jobs. I used it on the JCB because I brought the JCB to be a front loader tractor over at the main yard when we were doing big amounts of bale work. So when we're doing our big silage cuts and things, it's much better for, I found it was much better for stacking bales than using a telehandler. So it's partly because the bales are big and heavy, and so I put a big weight on the back of the JCB, and the four-wheel steer made it really move. So the nice thing about the Crammer is four-wheel steer. Yeah, there's another I really want to try at some point, and probably not on this save, the Lin track for a loader tractor as well, because again that's got the four-wheel steer, and I know the words telehandlers have four-wheel steer, but I kind of prefer a front loader. Not sure why, I'm just finding that I prefer a front loader over a telehandler. And over at the main yard, I think I've got 2 or 3 front loader tractors along with the telehandler and a skid steer now. A lot of kit over there. Oh yeah, for some reason this didn't want to let go of the bales. Which is a bit annoying. So I do switch bale grabs. I can't remember if this was why or if it was because it was just kind of big and it was getting tricky to stack the bales in the shed. So what I should have done as well, what I do end up doing in the end, is taking the bales off the trailer, because we need to reach from the back of the trailer because of the way Universal Autoload stacks them, and things get a bit heavy and a bit awkward. And the Crammer doesn't have the longest reach in the world, but I really like using it. It's a really nice bit of kit. So the reason I was looking at the Kubota stuff is a lot of the kit that's going to be coming on here is going to be Kubota. I say a lot of the kit. There isn't that much kit that we're going to get, and there isn't that much kit that could be Kubota that we're going to get. So yeah, some of the kit. This is why I swapped, because we're kind of hitting the ceiling, and I want to go 6 bales high in here because we have quite a lot of bales to bring back. So yeah, and it was a bit of a gamble because I might have even gone higher than 6 in the other straw shed, and we've all seen what that looks like. So yeah, not the best. But I think at this point no, persevering. I thought I had decided to get rid of this earlier. So a bit of foreshadowing. Yes, I do change the bale fork to something else, because I want to be able to get to be 6 bales high in that shed, and I can't. So yeah, I was just looking at my notes for this video, and because I wrote the notes to help me with the commentary before I record the next one, and the next one is for next time. It's like sort feed, move beef. I know I spent several hours moving feed across and ran out of time to move beef. So yeah, we're not going to get that far in the next video. We are basically, and it's one of those weird ones again. I was talking about time. I've really slowed the time down on here so that I can get this job done. And the benefit is it's breaking that cycle that I said I had previously of every Let's Play being at the same point. Yeah, we're going to change the bale spike over. Every Let's Play was at the point where I was baling straw and baling hay, and this should break some of that cycle and just spread things around a bit, which is kind of cool. So the hay is still drying over at the main farm. Yeah, it may have actually dried at this point. I can't remember. So it was a fair while ago. This was one of those videos that I got recorded while I was ill, but yeah, I was still playing FS a lot, which is kind of cool because I'm quite a way ahead in recording, but not in commentary. So going for the Robert, or Robert as some say, I think it's Robert. Robert feels wrong. I don't know. Bale spike. I think I've got one of these over at the main yard as well. And again, this is one that can go on pretty much anything depending on how you set it up. I've set it for front loader tools, obviously, because this uses front loader attachments. And this should let me stack things 6 high. And it's quite nice because it's got an adjustable back, so you can stick it up a decent amount. Yeah, and it seems to work quite well. So obviously, you will see by the end, I spent quite a lot of time shifting bales and stacking bales. Now, thankfully, I've said this quite a few times, FS22 is so much better for bale physics. I am not sure I would have done this in FS19. In FS19, I used a lot of bale, auto stacking bale sheds. And not so much in 22, partly because there aren't so many of them about, and partly because actually the bales work fine. And they don't seem to be causing too much in the way of lag. Particularly if you think how many bales I have back at the main yard. I do get a slight dip in FPS, but not that much. This is me working out that I can't pick any more bales up off the trailer. So yeah. And yeah, this is something that I talked about. Actually, it was in the video for the patrons, and this is a really good point to say thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Yeah, and because I was ill, I've had quite an extended break from making videos, and I tend to find that when I do that, it gets kind of hard to talk to yourself for 30 minutes, and this is a 40-minute video, and this is the point. And I think it was probably really obvious. I did say it in the Greenlands video, where I got to the point where I was struggling for things to say. Now I am starting to make notes of sort of discussion points as well, and we might pick one of those up in a bit. I saw one this morning that kind of amused me. Yeah, but I don't know if you've ever done this. Probably a lot of you haven't. I don't know if any of you do kind of speaking for work. It's part of my job, but generally you have something particular you're speaking about, and then when you've done speaking, you stop. And I tend to talk a lot less about what's going on the screen, and a lot more about just random stuff or ideas or things that are linked to it, And I could sit and tell you that, okay, I've just picked up 3 straw bales, and we're going to take them into the shed, and we're going to put them down in front of these bales, and then we'll go and get some more bales, and we'll stack some more bales. And I do a bit of that, but I think one of the unique bits, maybe not unique, one of the bits that people like about my channel is that I talk about other stuff as well. So saying that, we're now going to talk about what we're doing in the store. We need to get a feed mixer, and we have this Lucas Spire Mix 300, which I think we're going to go for 30,000 litres. Not huge, but we don't have that many cows here, so I think that'll be okay. It's just one that I haven't used before. We're going to get in the medium tractors, and we're going to go for a Kubota M7. So something that I've mentioned before And if you've been around the channel for a while, you'll know that I had some issues with the laptop that I normally game on, and had a long period around the release of maizePlus where I was gaming on an older laptop. And just before that happened, in preparation for maizePlus releasing, I had set up a save to do this thing, but not on Attingham, because Attingham hadn't been released when I started. It was on Gelderland, and I had lots of Kubota stuff, and it was really good. I got about 4 episodes recorded and then had to bin it all because I couldn't run the save that I had on there at the time on the old laptop. It had a lot of kit. Although this one now has a lot of kit, but it's because we're gaming on the newer laptop now. Anyway, so I thought I would use Kubota kit up here. So the M7 is going to be kind of our big tractor. Probably have that doing carting and some of the grass work we're going to have to do up here, and running the mixer wagon. I think I'm going to get another tractor up here. I haven't yet. I think it might be the smaller Kubota, although I was musing in the video for the patrons this week that maybe I might go for an old Fen or a small Fen, or a small old Fen. So yeah, we'll see. But maybe a Kubota. I think they're really nice tractors, and I've only used the skid steer in Let's Play stuff. So I thought it would be cool to actually make use of them in one of my Let's Plays, and this is the perfect one. So the M7 is quite a good size tractor. It's got a decent amount of horsepower. It's like 170, something like that. And it doesn't have the American wheels, but some of the others are, I think, forced to, unless you go for duals, and duals for yard work is not really very sensible. So next bit of kit is a trailer. So this is basically going to be for carting manure back to the BGA until we maybe install one up here, and also for picking feed up and stuff. So we might put pressure washer in as well. Actually, didn't do that, but that might be a good idea, so that we can wash the trailer out between taking manure and getting feed. Although in the next video, I'm maybe thinking about changing how we go get the feed. Yeah. And that's linked to Fun with the Crammer. You can see the fast track has just made it back to the field. So I've been using auto drive to run the fast track back to the field that has the bales in. I could maybe use Courseplay to collect the bales and really automate it all, but I just did it myself. I just went and grabbed a load of bales at a time, and then set it on auto drive to come back. I think the last thing we need to get is a straw blower. I think that's what I'm really badly looking for. And I don't have many options installed. I could have gone Vermeer, but I think this is more designed for round bales, so we're going to be really boring. I did use the Vermeer in some of the testing that I've been doing. It's a really nice bit of kit, but I think it's more designed for round bales, looking at the shape of it and the pickup on the back. So we're going to be really boring and go for another Premor 15070. So we have one of these back at the main yard, and it tends to be my go-to because I just don't think there are more options out there. I have more options installed on Maple, but I just thought I'd use the same one. See, we don't think we've stacked any more bales yet. The fast track is on its way back, fully loaded with straw bales. I'm not going to show you all of the bale unloading, just because it took me ages, and I didn't even video it all because it took me ages. Yeah. And we've got this nice shed here that we can put the tractor in for now, until I decide to use it again. But yeah, seems to be okay. And hopefully the JCB will make it here in a moment. And here it is. Look at the timing. Yeah. The auto drive actually worked really well. I think I still have traffic turned off, but considering we're going pretty much the whole way across the map, I was pretty pleased with how it was doing in terms of getting us backwards and forwards. So this is a few loads later. These are the last of the bales, which is why it's all stacked a bit randomly. One of them is smaller. I think because I had some remnants of something else in the baler before I changed the size. So it kicked out one smaller bale. But yeah, the shed is suddenly much fuller. These are, as I said, these are all of the bales that came off of the 2 grain fields that we harvested over the last few videos, and they've been sat in the field waiting. And that's partly why I didn't move them, because I wasn't sure where they were going to go. And I'm glad I hadn't, because they now have a new home. I still need to tidy up the straw shed back on the main farm. So getting back to the giveaway, so it's not going to be asked in this video, it'll probably be in the next Attingham one. It is for Warhammer 40,000. I just went and had a quick check, which was gifted to me by Quacker, and I want to make sure it goes to someone who's a part of the community who watches the videos, and so it's not going to be a big announced in the video title or anything. There will be some stuff in the description, because you have to do some things to make it legal with YouTube, but it's going to be later into the video, so it's really for, you know, those of you that watch the whole video will get to see how you enter that competition to win. There's going to be no alternative prizes, anything like that. It is just a copy of the game. I think it's worth quite a bit, actually. Yeah, so that is coming probably the next Attingham video. Yeah, so thanks again to Quacker for sending that to me, because it's meant that I can do something kind of cool. And we'll still be doing the 5,000 sub giveaway, but that's quite a way off yet. Maybe even towards the back end of 2023 before that happens. So yeah, it's one of those things. But we are pretty much done. A couple of bales left to stack. So yeah, if you've made it this far through the video and you haven't already, click the like button, because, you know, that makes me happy. Any comments, questions or suggestions, thoughts about the yard? Should we make it a bit bigger? Should we move the BG8 up here, then stick those below, because it's always good for the algorithm. My views on that kind of vary, because I'm pretty sure the algorithm serves the user, so if you comment on videos you get more notifications rather than it telling more other people. So anyway, yeah, enjoy having chats in the comment section, so stick them there if you've got any. See if we can get these last few bales in. I'm hoping that this shed doesn't explode, because in the next video we have a whole load of hay bales to bring over as well, so yeah, it would be nice if it didn't explode with the straw. You see the last little bale to go in will be the first one we get rid of, because it looks odd because it's so small. Yeah, so next video on here will be getting more of the food sorted up here, getting the hay baled back at the main farm and bringing that over, and getting some silage brought over, the other bits we need for the feed, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed the video and aren't already, think about subscribing, turning on notifications, and I will see you next time on Attingham Park.